But how accurate is this narrative? In answering this question, let us return to our previous figure and examine the historic temperature and CO2 records more critically. Certainly, these two variables experience a fairly high degree of correlation over the time period shown. However, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, or in this case, a climatologist, to recognize and understand the fact that correlation among two variables does not prove causation. Every textbook on statistics will teach you that. And they will also teach you that a hypothesis of causation among two variables can be rejected if there is no statistically significant correlation between them, or if the correlation fails to be maintained in a consistent and expected manner across time. Applying such principles to the case we are considering here, we can therefore confidently state that if carbon dioxide is indeed the all-important control knob of temperature that climate alarmists claim it to be, then changes in atmospheric CO2 should always precede changes in temperature. And because CO2 is a greenhouse gas, to prove causation, those changes must always be such that a rise in CO2 induces a corresponding rise in temperature, whereas a decline in CO2 must always induce a corresponding drop in temperature. Current observation, or consistent observations to the contrary, if present in the historical record, would therefore serve to invalidate a causation claim, as well as demonstrate that atmospheric CO2 is nothing more than a bit player among the many factors that drive climate change. So, what do the records show? Many of you may be surprised to learn that the historic temperature and atmospheric CO2 records do indeed violate the aforementioned principles of causation, and they do so more often than they maintain them. Multiple peer-reviewed scientific studies, for example, have demonstrated that following the termination of each of the past several global ice ages, air temperatures have always risen well in advance of the increase in atmospheric CO2. In fact, during these glacial terminations, which represent the most dramatic warming events experienced on Earth over the past million years, the air's CO2 content does not even begin to rise until some 400 to 3,000 years after planetary warming starts.